Hello, Mrs. Darling. How are you? Hello? Okay, he's gonna get the job. Good. Yeah, it's all done. It's all done. I can. Do you have to tell me, did you look at those pictures yet I sent you? Okay, sorry. Well, I just thought they would make you smile. Okay, anyway, you're saving him for dessert. Saving him for dessert. Okay. Yeah. No. No. The no. Okay. Okay. Well, the editing. I mean, I can take the image that was sent to me and pick and say this is what I would edit out. And this is what I would not edit out. I would say I keep this, but I would take these out. Is sort of is, but I'd like to have him understand that first because there may be something that I'm going to keep that I should have left out, or vice versa. I mean, it's when I, yeah, no. Well, I don't, if the job is harder, I charge more money. So, I mean, I'll figure out I'll assume it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. But I mean, I, um, I also would love to have this thing appear like it is an ink drawing rather than a composite of pencil and ink and all sorts of other shit thrown in there on top of things. So, no, 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 no. Well, I could, I think I can uh, do a sample. I mean, what I would do is probably pick a sample of the drawing that looks like it contains all of the elements that I'll be dealing with. And maybe it is, I mean, the focal point of this drawing is the open mouth of the lion or whatever the fuck it is. And it's drawn very differently from Bambi, but it's going to look more like it's drawn the same way as Bambi. Um, but I would, I'd pick an area of that where I'd say, here is, um, this is what this area is, very densely drawn with lots of lines. Here's an area, maybe I do two sections. Here's an area that clearly has just an outline of a Bambi head, and that's it. And but the problem is, of course, when you put it all together, it's going to look weird. I mean, one thing I could do is I could take the drawing like I did in Photoshop and just trace over the lines that I think are important in the way that I would draw it in ink first and say, is this what this is what it will look like, except it will be on vellum. And that way they'll know. I mean, that might be the safest way to do it, unless it's adding another step that you don't want to deal with. Well, yeah. No, it doesn't feel that way yet. It just there. The way I do things like this is I look at the thing and I say, this is the problem that I see, or the question that I need to have answered. Now, I there are some people who will be unable to see whether they like this color purple for their house by looking at a swatch. They want to see the whole house painted. Well, that's expensive. So is there a way to do a wall first before we do the whole thing and see what that looks? Take the short, smallest wall, that's and paint that. Yeah. So I was just thinking, maybe what I would do is spend an hour. I wouldn't spend a lot of time on this, but I would trace over the 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 thing that they sent me, including the lines that I think should be included and excluding the lines that are not included, and have thin black lines represent the thin lines in pencil, and a slightly thicker thin line for the thicker pencil, and then really thick lines for the things that are really bold. And then that way they'll see what this is going to look like when it's done. And then, except it's going to be on vellum. So it's a step where I have to draw it, um, uh, on the computer first. And then what I hope I can do is take that, put it on a light table, print it up on vellum or tracing paper or something, put it on a light table, and then trace it, with pencil on this vellum, and then ink it up in the same way that I did. So, but of course, vellum is I mean, the difference between a white, computer screen and a piece of vellum is a white computer screen is white, and it's going to be very cold and antiseptic compared to. I mean, I could put it on a vellum-y looking background, but the I do. I charge $100 an hour, but I never charge for all the hours that go into it, because I end up, like we all do, and part of what I do, like these conversations, yeah. But one of the things that I do when I'm working with a client that I have a feeling is going to change their mind, I am essentially building a building that has like 5,000 fire escapes on it. you can't you can't see the building because there's so many fire escapes, but I'm trying to figure out a way to to present it in a way where they will see as best they can, what it's going to look like without me having to, take a calf out of the pasture and kill it to do this. Now, hopefully, I also, honestly don't know. I haven't drawn with India ink on vellum in a long time, so I have to figure out how to do this again. And now I have used acrylic paint on vellum more recently, but India ink I think is probably better. But I'll do a research with calligrapher friends and find out what maybe is the best thing to do. But again, I honestly don't know. I don't do this normally, so. Well, I use a pen to do it with acrylic, but it's really goopy. It's goopy, so I have to keep shaking it. It takes a long time to draw it because I always shaking the thing. So unless I can, maybe I can hire a bronzed beefy boy to stand next to me and shake it for me while I'm and since I can charge it to the client. Uh, so yeah, okay, yeah. And what lines and the lines that I would the essentially three fine, medium, and broad lines that I will be using to create this gradation drawing. And he would look at that against the original and see what if I've done enough of the lines, then I um, say that that first part of the thing is part of the money and part of the $100 an hour, because it is something that even if, let's say, he doesn't like it at all, and because it is very different from a pencil drawing, the warmth is gone. He may not even see that the warmth is there, but there is warmth, and it's going to go away, and to a degree, especially on this, this tracing that I'm going to do. And then, so it's just, uh, but tell him that this is the best way that I know how to present to him what he's going to get uh, as best I can. So yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I see. An ink tracing, a digital tracing using edit, uh, well, I would use my computer, but essentially I would do a digital tracing where I will take the lines that are presented and turn them into solid lines, black lines of well, don't say ink, but just say solid ink, yeah, ink like lines, solid black lines, and editing out smudges and things that I don't think belong, and but keeping as many lines as possible that were part of the drawing. There's one where there's some element of one animal goes behind another one, and you can see it right straight through. And it's one of the ones that I included in my little sample. And whether that should be removed or not, I don't know. I mean, okay, so just take out the things that I think should be removed. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
okay with that? He goes, yeah, but basically I just want it to be as close as possible.
Okay.
So I think in your inclination, that's what you can aim for,
Mm-hmm.
but don't make it harder than it needs to be to do that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so title tracing. And then that's our next step. And then you can send that to him, and he can decide if he wants to go forward.
Okay. Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds fine. And I'll,
his name is Andrew Roth, R-O-T-H.
Okay. Yeah. Just you do the introductions via an email saying, if Andrew is fine with this, he can contact me directly if he wants to, or you can introduce us at, like, CC all of us. And what I'll need at some point from you, if this is a go ahead, what I will do is you're going to send me a piece of vellum that is now the vellum is going to go on front and back, one piece, or it's going to be.
It's two pieces. There's two drawings.
Yeah, I know.
The second one.
Okay.
That's kind of concerning. I feel like you should see the second one.
Well, I should know what, if I can do it, for one thing. But the other thing is the cover going to be one piece of vellum, or are there going to be two pieces?
There's going to be two pieces.
One for the front cover, one for the back.
Correct.
Okay, so
and
there's two books. So there's 4 pieces of vellum I'll be doing. So one of the things I need to know, I guess, is how they want this picture situated on the cover.
Yeah.
Unless it's, really big, and how big it will be on the cover. So is it going to be a bleed, or it's going to go to the edge, or is it going to sort of drift off into nothing, or what? So.
What you would get if this goes forward and you're going to do it, then I'm not binding this, Peter's binding it. And so there would be turn-ins on all 4 sides of the vellum.
Okay.
And so there'd be a penciled square representing the field that you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
That it'll be located for you to, the area that you should work within.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And so that means the piece you will get could be roughly
the size of a cow. Okay.
Something like that. Maybe the turn-ins are going to be smaller than I know.
Okay.
Depends on the size of the turn-ins. But again, the drawing itself, or the text, I guess, is something like 19.5 by 16.5. So the cover will be, that size or a bit bigger. A hair bigger.
And how big is this? Is this drawing going to be sort of floating in the middle somewhere, or is it going to be to the?
That's something we have to find out.
Yeah. And how big it's going to be on this space, and is there going to be a title stamped in gold or something on top of it too, or what?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the drawing.
Okay.
And so they'll have to decide how big is the drawing.
Yeah.
3/4. It might be close to the edges. I just.
Okay.
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if that. Yeah, we'll nail that down. So, all right. Well, I'm trying to read you, and.
Well, I need the money, and I don't know how many hours this is going to take. Is it going to be 10 hours? Is this going to be 20 hours? Is it going to be, I have no idea. I have no idea how many hours it's going to be to do this, but I generally draw fast. But there might be a learning curve that goes on with, making this vellum work. So, yeah. And, sometimes you're going along perfectly fine, and then there's part of the vellum that's completely fucked up, that has oil or something still on it, or who knows what, and then you're screwed, so. Yeah.
It could be fat in the skin that resists, but that shouldn't be the case
on this vellum. Yeah.
So we'll make extra sure that that
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think that will be a problem. You still kind of need to get used to it and how it receives.
I get to, I need to do that, and again.
I think we can send you
Yeah.
to figure this out.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we'll do, and then we have several pieces to play with.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I like your idea. Let's
Yeah. I'm just trying to, you know, this is, I tell anyone this, what I'm doing now. This is how I would recommend translating this into, a weird pencil drawing done on an iPad. Uh, uh,
so I'm gonna send him an email probably tomorrow morning because I'm too tired now.
okay.
And I've got to look at somebody's text messages.
They're going to be pissed, and you'll be happy when you see it. You'll love that Russell Facemeyer is fascinated with the Hamburglar. I don't know why he's fascinated by it, but he is. He's sure is odd, that's for sure.
So I'm going to write up the points that we just made, and then I'm going to say to him, if you're good with this concept of Peer doing the ink drawing, the digital tracing, and with $100 an hour and blah blah blah, then he can call you directly and tell you.
Okay.
And then the one thing I'll say is, unless you want me to stay in this a little bit longer, I could have him get back to me, give you the go ahead, and then once he sees the ink drawing and he likes it, then you guys should be just dealing with it.
It sounds okay. My only fear is, I know how to talk to you, but I don't know how to talk to this guy, and
he's kind of a classic pushy dude.
Well, I know that, and that's what you mentioned, and it's just that when I say something like to you, no, that I said that, as we discussed, Mr. Tomlinson, any pencil line is going to turn into a black line of some thickness. I'm going to try to figure out what is the thinnest line that will work on vellum. I'm not going to have it be the thinnest line, but I want to have it be, because none of the lines are horribly thin. But I also really need to see the second drawing too, because it may be completely, like copying a Dürer, etching, engraving, and it might. No.
I'm going to send him the drawing that you did yesterday.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say, Andrew, if you're good with this concept and the hourly rate, let me know, and I'll give Pierre the go ahead.
Okay.
And then when you send the drawing, you can send him the drawing directly.
Yeah.
And then he can respond to you directly.
Okay.
At that point.
Yeah.
And then one thing I'll say now, you keep it in the back of your mind, is he is kind of a pushy New York dude.
Yeah. Okay.
So what you can say is, if you go ahead, if he calls you and says, let's do it, and by the way, how much is this going to cost me? Because I'm sure that's what he's going to say.
Yeah.
You can say, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how long this is going to take.
Yeah.
It could be 10 hours.
I mean, if I, for example, if I didn't see the second drawing, and if I only saw the first drawing, the second drawing might be 3 times more complicated and take 4 times longer. So I really need to see both and how big they're going to be. And I also have to probably assume that there's going to be something that goes wrong, which I have to sort of charge for. He doesn't need to know that I made a mistake, but it's part of the thing, the cat peed on it or something. So anyway, okay, well, yeah.
Here's the last thing I'll say.
Yeah.
I brought up the high res screen.
Yeah.
And he was interested in
Okay.
And he said he confessed that he had talked to the printer, the person who's printing the book,
No.
and had sent him an email asking, could you create a plate and print it? And he hadn't heard back yet. So
Okay.
that means he's considering other.
Okay. Well, that's,
So,
yeah, I mean, that's,
so the one thing I would say,
yeah.
thing I would say is if existing drawing,
Yeah.
And then he ends up
Hating it.
getting an email from the printer saying,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
He's gonna owe you money.
Yeah. No, he'll, as soon as I start the meter, it's going to go. So,
You should already have started. You got a good hour into this already.
okay.
So,
Well, anyway, it's, yes.
I want this, if you're gonna do it, I want it to be worth your while.
Well, it will be worth my while, but I'm just trying to make it, and I'm also, someone who's more than happy to say at some point, I'm not the right person for this. I mean, and I'll say it hopefully before any money is spent, but if I see this second drawing, or if he looks at the drawing that you're going to send him that I did yesterday, and he might say something like, can you show more, can you do one with thinner lines and medium lines and thick lines and exaggerate the variety there? I might say, yes, I can. But if there's a sense where he says something like someone said, I want you to do a portrait of me, but make me look pretty. I don't know what the fuck that means, lady, because do you want me to make you less old, take the wrinkles away? I know how to do that, but I don't know what you mean by pretty. And if they want it to be more beautiful, I don't know what that means. So they have to be very specific. Yeah, yeah,
I think this situation is simply, you've got the drawing, and he wants it as close as possible to
yeah,
the drawing, but there's a shift in materials.
yeah,
So you get to trust your
yeah,
artistic instinct and experience to make that
yeah,
decision.
yeah,
And you have to be the one making that
yeah.
decision.
Okay,
So otherwise, it's just a quagmire of work
yeah,
that's going on. So I think at some point, as long as he gets the concept of ink and what that means,
yeah.
and the line quality,
The line quality, a little bit different. Yeah,
right? Then at that point, it's just you getting to take it from there,
yeah,
and
yeah,
not worrying anymore about
yeah.
it. So okay, so just to quickly review, you sent him an email. Say you'd like to do additional tracing to present what an ink-like solid black line rendering looks like. And by the way, you charge $100 an hour. And by the way, can we see the second drawing?
Yeah,
And then
no,
I'll say, if Andrew, if you like this concept, if you like this drawing, and you're okay with the hourly rate,
mm,
then let me know, and I'll tell Pierre to go ahead with that drawing. And that'll be the next step. And in the meantime, please get us a picture of the second drawing.
yeah,
Okay?
okay, great,
So, all right.
perfect,
Cool.
perfect. Okay, it's great. No, it's great. It's huge. It's better than anything. It's better than everything. It's perfect. I can't. Here. I have them on my resident desk as paperweights because they're so great. They're so, people throw cans. It's easier than throwing a brick. What a fucking moron.
If that
Well, I would just, I would start shrinking again, I think. Like this. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. Okay. Very good. Okay. See ya. See ya. Bye. Bye. Whose ass are we gonna kiss? Okay, I'm done with my phone call. Now, 4:42. What? Oh, fuck me. Okay. Okay, now put that here, put that there, drink some water. It was just cold water, not ice water. Okay, what am I trying to do, Deborah? Oh, in 15 minutes, I have to start making dinner. I just have to turn on the oven and preheat the oven and put it in. It's roast beef and I don't know what else. Brussels sprouts or something. And Okay, now where did it go? For God, fuck's sake. God bless. I hate my life. Where did I put my pen that I use for my computer? Hi, Kesh. Oops. Okay, now done, I hope. Well, the whole idea of it not being connected is it's like a pen. Like I have to do calligraphic work with this thing, moving it completely around, and to have it attached to a string is defeats the purpose of it. It's just black like the rest of my house. It doesn't have a clip. It's it does come with a little holder that you put it in, but the little holder, I find that obnoxious as well. It's a pen like this. It's missing the little front part. It's a little rubbery edge. It has a button here, and it has an eraser here. So what it does eventually, it will allow me to draw directly on the thing, and I press a button over here, and then the cursor goes to my screen that's vertical. So this thing is showing two different screens. Now I can also use this brush to new brush, make it a calligraphic brush, have it go by pressure, variation 5, okay. And then now, if I press down, the line gets thicker. And then what's nice about everything here is, in this particular program, let's say I want to do something. I don't understand why it does this. It drives me crazy. Fuck. I can make it let's say this is a G that I want. Well, let's say this doesn't work quite right, so I can pull this end around and change the shape of the G. I can make it be skinny, fat, but if this was on a string, just like if your Boinga Boinga was on a string, you'd be screaming because the string would get in your way and apply pressure where you don't want it to be, and then you'd be pissed. So anyway, and using this program, this eventually could be, God, for fuck's sake. Let's say I loved this and I wanted this to be printed out on the head of a pen, or I wanted it to be the size of a billboard, because this is in vector, a computer-based thing. It can be enlarged or reduced infinitely, and it could be cut into laser. With a laser, it could, all sorts of shit can happen with this, but you need a vector. So more and more, all of the jobs I do have to be drawn in vector these days. So the drawing that I have to do for this client, see if I can find where that is. This is the new client that I was talking on the phone with about. There's a book that's being bound, and the cover is going to be vellum, calfskin, actual vellum, and the drawing I'm copying, I don't know if you can tell, was done, I guess, on an iPad or something. And so here's just a little tiny section of the original drawing. So some of the drawing is done very finely with something that looks like a pencil. I guess this was all done on a what do you call it? An iPad. And this is a little deer head, and this is part of this huge drawing, and I'm supposed to turn this into an ink drawing. Well, the pencil line is very subtle and gray and very fine, and there's other areas like right here. Well, you can't tell because now it's out of focus. Zoom out. But there's a dark line here and then a thin line, like really, really thin. Now, am I supposed to turn that into something or not? I don't know. And then there's this. There's a smudge and a line and another line and a little smudge and all sorts of other things. And I don't know what I'm supposed to draw there. Am I supposed to include all of that, or do I simplify it? So this is the question I have to deal with. The actual drawing is this. So it shows a lion, which you can't see because it's shitty, but a bunny and a thing and a plant and a little cherub head and another sleeping boy, I guess. I don't know what this is. There's a little part of a lamb, I guess, and there's another Bambi thing with its mouth open and another plant, but I honestly don't know how I'm supposed to represent this. So where's my pen here? There's a really faint line here, but I don't know what that means. And then there's this, and that, and that, and then this. I mean, what happens is when you trace over a pencil drawing with ink, all of the subtlety of the pencil is gone. So here, this is darker, this is light, and then there's a really light one here. But I don't know whether all of these are like these two little lines. Like, those two dots supposed to be there? They're on the picture. So if I included those and they saw this thing and I said it's $2,000, and they'd say, well, what are those two little lines are? Well, those are on the drawing you sent me. Oh, we didn't want you to include those. Well, why did you include them? So there's going to be stuff Okay, I have to take something out of the refrigerator.
We can still touch people's lives in a touchless world. And now, each time you tap your MasterCard at grocery stores, MasterCard will donate to Stand Up to Cancer. One precious cent at a time, up to $5 million. Together, we can start something priceless.
Politico has an article, Joyce Vance, called The Congressman and His Wingman, and I want to read a little bit of that. It says the Gates-Greenberg relationship wasn't one of equals, according to mutual friends who say the tax collector.
I don't want this alarm to go off. Why did it go off? Hi, Russell. I didn't mean to sound like a conservative capitalist pig when I was talking about illegal aliens. I was trying to make a joke. But the work that you had to clean up did seem like it was outside of your purview. I mean, that looks like it's a job that's meant for custodial staff rather than management. I just had a very nice talk with Mark Tomlinson, who we were speaking of you, Russell, of course, saying very good things. Look at that hairdo. Oh, you're wearing a hat.
Yeah,
So the hair,
it's pretty well the same underneath.
it does look like it's the same.
But no, I understood it was a joke.
Okay,
I was,
making a joke back.
I guess so. It was more like a political jab at the upper class, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether if it was a joke, it probably wasn't all that funny. But I took no real offense.
Okay, and nor did I. I mean, I knew. I have a feeling that we're pretty much on the same page when it comes to social welfare and beliefs and things like that. So you're using.
No, I mean, the reason that you feel that way about that work being outside of your purview is because probably it is.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy it a lot more than sitting at a desk all day.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same. I when I became the president of the BAA, one of the first things I did, the Brick Bottom Artists Association, was I spent a day trying to clean the office that we all share, and because there was stuff from 10 years earlier that had no reason to still be there, but no one was willing to throw it out, because we're a community. No one wanted to make the decision to do that. And I just said, we don't need this. We don't need that. We don't need this. We can put this in with that. And so but one of my neighbors came by and said, Pierre, you shouldn't be doing this. This isn't what you should be doing with your talents.
Why are you? Oh, okay. I thought they were objecting to you throwing away stuff.
Well, they were objecting with me actually doing labor that they thought someone else could do, where I should just sit and think about how to make Brick Bottom more artistic and creative or something. I don't know what. And
you're not going to be able to do that unless you can actually stand in the office.
I can't do that I can't stand in the office. So, and again, it was something where there's so many people that are in the community or in the board, that to actually have a meeting to decide how to do it, it would never get done. And so I just thought, okay, if I throw something out that's important, I take responsibility for it. I did see something, though, that I wrote. I was looking through a file and I found a note that I sent the board before I was the president. And this was way early on. As soon as we sort of moved into the building, we ended up finding that we owned this gallery, which we had thought was going to be rented out to someone as a gallery, but now we were the gallery owner and we had decisions to make about what was going to be done with it. And all of the trauma that we went through to decide what to do with this gallery kept us from making art. And I said, this is my suggestion. I have 3 suggestions, and one was just have it be open and people bring down work and just hang it up willy-nilly and take, leave things up for a month and come back and take them down, and someone else put something up, just very casual. And another one was, or if it wasn't going to be like that, fill it from the floor to ceiling with cement and call it a day. Just completely full. Because it was keeping us from making art, so
Yeah.
And it still is. There's one person that's paid to help work it, to make it go, and we pay taxes on it, and we do a lot of stuff that, well, we don't pay taxes because it's a nonprofit, not for profit. So, but anyway, it's still a lot of work that keeps us from doing work of our own. So what are you painting? I see you with a brush.
I actually is actually a pen. I'm working on just a drawing right now.
Okay.
Let me see here. There's a little bit to fill in. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Well, I've been making Target box totem poles for the show that's in the gallery now, or will be in the gallery when it's hung. And so that's what I've been doing, and also doing a job for a client, and occasionally drawing a figure or whatever.
Was the drawing for the client the piece that I saw for the thumbnail for this video?
It could have been.
It had like a child in it, I think, and it was drawn in various. Okay. Yeah, I thought that one was rather nice.
That's another job I have to do. That's something I have to do for Mark Tomlinson. The drawing was done by an artist on an iPad, and it looks like she was using a couple of different tools, one that resembled pencil and one that resembled pen. And some of the pencil lines, or what look like to be pencil lines, are very faint. Some look like, and there's many layers to this thing. So anyway, it looks like a sketch. Well, I'm supposed to copy this using ink, only ink, on vellum, actual sheepskin, for a cover of the book. So I have to translate this pencil drawing into this ink drawing, and there's ways I would do it, but I don't know whether it's the way the client wants.
Right.
So I was coming up with the way that I was thinking I could for example, so here's the drawing. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a lion. It's upside down, but it's a lion, and there's Bambi and the Thumper, and there's some plants, and there's a sleeping child and a head of a child and a Bambi and a lamb, and it looks like a hand with a turnip in it or something. Honestly, I have no idea what these things are because it's very light. So then I sent them, I did this drawing here, to send to Mark, and I said, well, this is what I would need to know. So here's the original, which, you know, again, I have no idea what size this is, but there's pencil line, but there's this corner here, this ear. I mean, there's all sorts of nastiness going on, and am I supposed to copy that? And then what is this? That's like a dribbly fingerprint or something. So I said, well, here's what I might do. I would use 3 different widths of pen to try to copy it. But as you know, when you take the beautiful subtlety of pencil and turn it into black and white, the beautiful subtlety of pencil goes away. So
yeah, you can lose a lot in the translation from grayscales to just pure black and white.
So I said what I would do is, if they're happy with my hourly rate, and if they're happy with what my plan is, I can draw. What I would do is go through the drawing and trace over it in Photoshop like I was doing, and send it to them and say, these are the lines that I will ink. If you think I should draw more, like right here, for example, this line right here, oops, you can't see. This line right here is part of the child that you see. This line is underneath this ear.
Yeah, and you don't know whether they want to see that show up or not,
or whether that's part of the ear, you know, or whatever. So I don't know what to do. And if you look at this, what is that line? That line is part of. Here's the head of a baby facing away. There's the ear and the nose, and this line is part of whatever this is. It looks like it's a diaper shorts made of leaves.
Yeah.
And so that is back here. But that's really the only area where you see something transparent. I don't see it anywhere else. So I would say I would take that out. I would remove that.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that's what they want me to do. So this is a cabbage, I guess. And then the child's hand is holding a cabbage. So
this is a very interesting drawing. You got lions and Bambi and this kid that's holding a cabbage.
Yeah. And then this flattened pubic hair, whatever this is, it looks, I mean, there's nothing. This little line right here, it's not
going anywhere.
It doesn't relate to anything. And, you know, these 3 little lines here, you know, don't bother me when they're faint, but they will when they're dark. But so my plan would be to show them, maybe they want them all to be equally dark. I have no idea.
But it's their funeral if they do, frankly.
And this, you know, this big black thing here, that's the only, I mean, it's going to look shitty regardless, because you don't know, it's supposed to be a shadow, I guess. But, and then this thing right here, this little, that's part of the leg, I guess. But that line shouldn't be there. That's not part of the tiger. So, you know, I have to, in drawing this, I don't have to, but I will make those decisions. Like, what the hell is this thing? Is that a...
Looks like the bottom of whatever that creature is.
Well,
there.
It looks like there's another, I mean, this is the ass of this thing, and this bunny is down this way. Anyway, again, I don't know.
Yeah, it might have even just been a full start too.
Yeah. And this thing here, I mean, this is beautiful. This looks like it's, done with, I mean, look at the variation of ink here. This does look like real ink, and there's transparency here, and it's really quite lovely. But if that's all one color, or it's all densely black, it's gonna look very different. But look at this though, if I can see if I can figure this out. Layers. View, layers, show layers. Oh, there's something, I flattened it. It had a bunch of layers on it, and some were overlay and some were darken, and so there was clearly a lot of stuff going on that you didn't really see. So I just flattened it completely, and hopefully, I mean, I can get the original again, but it's just nasty,
Yeah,
Nasty.
it's disorganized work, which can't blame a person for that necessarily. But
let me just see if I can do this here. I just want to, what I tried to do is PSD download 14 megabytes. Let me just open this up with its okay. Why is this? Huh. Well, there was one I got that had the layers. The layers showing. Where did that go? Oh hell, who knows? So you're doing other than that, other than how are you doing generally?
no, I'm doing fine. Like I said, I'm actually enjoying the work a lot more now that I'm able to actually do something that's productive.
Oh, good.
I'm just sort of slowly chipping away at the artwork, and the weather has finally gotten good. So just about every day I've been going to the park and working rather than staying in the house.
Uh-huh.
So today it actually started, or it started raining while I was there. Or rather, I sensed the rain coming because the geese were honking and the frogs were singing and the wind was whipping everything everywhere. So I figured I'd better call it quits then. So I came back.
Okay.
And then that's about it. I mean, I was gonna mention earlier that place I had to clear out. That was pretty much the entrance to the plumbing, right? And you saw the state it was in, where like there was wood everywhere, all over the ground, and it was you could hardly move. So I had to imagine, if somebody needs to fix the plumbing or if there's some kind of flooding emergency down there, it's gonna create hazards and problems for whoever's going down.
Well,
But Oh, you had a talk with Mark Tomlinson, you said?
Well, Mark Tomlinson is the one that's that I'm doing this
That's
Bambi job for.
because the client wanted that from him, and he knew that you would be good for the job.
Well, he's doing a. There are two bookbinders involved in this, and the artist whose work we're looking at is the book is about this person, and I guess there's only two being made, 2 books only. So, and I don't know what Mark is doing, but evidently this other guy is the one that's going to be in charge. Okay, let me open this up and see if this works. Okay, so this has the layers. So let me just show you. So this is opacity 100. So I'm looking at the difference between these two drawings, and there's one layer that has a little bit more stuff added to it. This has stuff removed. Oh. I have to put something in the oven. I'll be right back.
Okay. I could hear the bells, and I thought the apocalypse was happening.
Not quite, not yet. Damn it.
Not until you get it in the oven. I'm just sitting here at this point. I should be entertaining you, Miss Marilyn. I apologize. Or to whomever's watching, I apologize for not being entertaining right now.
Oh, you can be entertaining.
Here's back. We can all start. We can all be started on the party again. I'm losing my.
Back to party. Let's partay.
Yeah, that's it. It was what Charlie Brown said in one of the strips. He said he always wanted to be the person who said, "Oh, look, it's Charlie Brown. Now the party can really begin."
Yeah. Oh.
They all made fun of him.
Of course they did.
Just like they made fun of him for wanting to be nicknamed Flash.
Oh, did he want to be that?
Yeah, there was a strip, and he said, "Don't tell anybody." To Lucy, of course, or either Lucy or Violet. And he said, "Don't tell anybody, but I always wanted to be nicknamed Flash. I wanted to be real athletic and be nicknamed Flash." And she laughs at him and she says, "Ha ha ha, Flash Brown." And she tells everybody, and they all laugh at him, and that was the end of the strip.
Well,
family fun.
Family fun.
No, actually, oh, you go ahead.
No.
What you're about.
No, you start.
Okay, I was just going to say that I did learn and I did read an interesting story last evening.
Yeah.
Um, it was on Fumettologica, which is an Italian website dedicated to comics, and it talked about how Charlie Brown came to Italy,
Oh.
and it turns out it was the communists.
Okay.
I'm not kidding about that.
Okay.
So what happened? This is amazing. There was a fellow. He was a member of the Italian Communist Party, but then he made a move to the United States and started his family there because the economy wasn't completely fucked over by World War II, right?
No.
So of course, right, he's going right after World War II, right when they get into the Red Scare. And he's an open communist. So he gets driven out of the country real quick.
Okay.
After his kids have had a chance to basically get acclimated and learn English, and they didn't know any Italian when they went over there, so they had to learn that too.
Yeah.
But his son, this guy worked in the newspaper industry, and he got a job for one of I think a Piemontese communist newspaper. His son started working for the same newspaper as a journalist, and at a certain point, they said, "Well, we really want to get more cartoons in this paper to fill things out." And so they asked for suggestions from the staff, and the guy's son says, I always really liked this cartoon from America that's called Peanuts. It's about Charlie Brown. And so they said, why not? We'll go for it. Except they decided to do an adaptation rather than a more straight translation. So Charlie Brown, first thing they took away were all the running gags. So anytime that that they mentioned like Beethoven's birthday, they replaced it with another holiday.
Yeah.
Or they just got rid of some strips entirely because they wouldn't have made sense. But then they also removed all the references to American pop culture because nobody would get it. And they also changed Charlie Brown's name to Pierino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little Pier.
Yeah. It would be like saying Little Peter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
thought they would change his last name from Brown to Red or something.
Pierino il Rosso.
Yeah.
No, but after that, it just picked up in popularity and it just went on from there basically and spread to more newspapers. The guy said that he was disappointed that they did not do like a more faithful interpretation, but now they're publishing it.
Well, I think it would be interesting to see how they tweaked it.
Yeah, it wasn't like if they showed a few comparisons and it wasn't terribly drastic as far as I could see. The main thing was they were just showing examples where it was like they were talking about Beethoven's birthday. So, for example, one was Schroeder talking to Lucy, and she asks him, "Oh, what are you getting me for Beethoven's birthday?" But in the Italian version is, "What are you going to get me for Valentine's Day?" And then the joke just runs the same, except they replace Beethoven's birthday with Valentine's Day.
I see.
Which renders the joke sort of not there because part of it is the ridiculousness of her asking him to get her something for Beethoven's birthday.
Or for Valentine's Day for that. Or for Valentine's Day.
Or for Valentine's Day for that matter, because Schroeder wouldn't get her anything. But in this case, it's more like Schroeder just being mean, right? And saying, "No, I never get you something for Valentine's Day. Why would you expect me to get you something for Valentine's Day?"
Well,
Whereas in the other, it's actually kind of reasonable to say, why the hell would you expect me to buy you a present for Beethoven's birthday?
that, yes. I never found Peanuts very funny in the first place. I don't know why. I think I told you my father went to school with him, Charles Schultz. They were
Yeah.
They were in the same boat. Oh dear.
I mean, from the accounts I've heard, Schultz was a bit of a sad sack. So
no. Good for you, Marilyn. She just got her second jab, her second COVID.
good. So she should be all good then.
Well,
I was wondering for a second what that was about, why she had gotten what jab she was talking about. But she's not a boxer now. She's just getting immunized.
Yes. So I want to do another drawing thing with you and Sally sometime one of these days. I don't know what we'll draw, but it'd be fun.
You were wanting to do the buffalo thing.
Well, I just thought it reminded me of the quail thing, and you know, how would you show buffaloing another buffalo in the first place? And then how would you then show that they're all from Buffalo, New York?
Yeah, you'd have to have like lots of either the city itself or the Bills merchandise.
No, it just. But the idea of the buffaloes who are buffaloed also buffalo the other buffaloes. You know, to me it just sounds like sort of that Escher stairway that keeps going up forever. You know, where one buffalo is picking on another one, but you sort of have to. You can't really face each other and be part of a chain. If you think of buffaloing as intimidating by facing the person you're intimidating, or fooling, or whatever the various.
Yeah, you have to be facing somebody else all the time. But if that person is facing another person, then they have their back. Either they have their back turned on you.
Yeah. So you can't
notice your intimidation.
Yeah. So they all can't be doing it at the same time. It's like
what if there were mirrors?
There could be mirrors, I guess. There's that story of how does a group of men sit around a fire when there's no chairs, and they all stand in a circle, and they face the fire, and then they rotate 90 degrees, and then they start sitting down. And if they do it all at the same time, you end up sitting on the other person's lap.
Oh, and it's just an endless loop of lap sitting.
There's endless. So none of them are facing each other. You're facing the back of someone, but you're all sitting down comfortably. I mean, sitting down, but you've got some big old fucking ass on your knees. And
none of them ever stop to think, basically, wait a minute, I could just be levitating here because that's what I was doing just before this fucker sat on my lap.
Yeah. But if one of them gets a crick in his leg or something and falls down, they'll all come down like dominoes, I would presume. Yeah. But anyway, it's, you know, that could be if the word for buffalo was in the town and if the word was fart, this old fart farts on that fart from Fartville, then you could conceivably do it in a round robin way, because the butts would be aiming toward the person behind you, and they wouldn't be farting on each other, though. I mean, A and B won't interact. A would interact with B, and B would interact with C, and eventually.
I mean, it would have to occur in kind of like a comportmental chain. So the first buffalo buffaloes one buffalo. That buffalo is buffaloed. And so he turns around to escape the buffalo of the other buffalo. And he sees the buffalo in front of him. And he says, well, I'm going to buffalo this buffalo because that buffalo buffaloed me. And so he buffaloes that buffalo.
Yes.
And the buffaloes keep on buffaloing.
Yes.
That's so much fun to say.
I wish that Kesh were here, because he was saying how the conversation about the buffalo wasted 20 minutes of his life. And now but see, we're having fun with it. And
yeah, we are.
We are.
Have you ever heard the story about the burglars around the campfire?
No.
So it was a dark and stormy night, and all the burglars were gathered around the campfire. And the littlest burglar said, Julio, tell us a story. And so Julio gets a serious look on his face, and he says, okay, it was a dark and stormy night, and all the burglars were gathered around the campfire. And the littlest burglar said, Julio, tell us a story. And Julio got a serious look on his face, and he said, okay, it was a dark and stormy night, and all the burglars were gathered around the campfire.
I think I know where this is going.
I'm not sure. We haven't really heard too much of the story yet.
No, but it'll just continue.
Yes.
And be the broken record.
My mom would always do that whenever we would ask her to tell us a story at bedtime. I never did get to hear the end.
Well, I think that's rather sweet that you have.
She was willing to torture me with a non-story.
Well, that, it maybe has made you think, well, how could the story end? And then you come up with all of the various possibilities, and you're now an artist. Oh, there's more chimes.
That means the oven's exploding.
That means I turn the temperature down. There.
So what is in the oven there?
It's a piece of cow that Matt
I see.
Slaughtered and put in the kitchen, in the oven. So
that's rather sad, but okay.
My what else is going on here? I made some totem pole masks and totem pole target box totem pole heads, which I will assemble into totem poles for the gallery in the gallery show. I'll do that tomorrow morning. And 30 more seconds and she can leave. She's at the doctor, I guess.
Oh yeah, she has to wait the 10 minutes or so to make sure that you don't have any adverse reactions.
Yes. And then when I got mine done, then the person brought me brought me outside, and then someone else took me over and escorted me. I said, well, I can go. No, we have to escort you. And I said, oh, I see. So you get me to walk
I see how it is.
off the property. Once I'm off the property, you don't care if I fall over, but
the moment I'm still on your property is the moment that your insurance bills you more for me.
yeah, so I can see why you're doing this. And he laughed,
And I still don't like it.
I know, I see your cunning plan. So
and I respect you so much for it.
The woman that was brought me to the room where the shots were given, she liked my bicycle helmet with the spring-loaded Duhinguses on them that I use for holding sketches, and they were very nice. And she took a picture of it, and she turns out she's an urban sketcher as well, but at the North Shore somewhere. And but anyway, we'll see how that goes. Any other fun news? Your family's okay and everything?
Yeah, they're all fine. Let me think. Not too much that I can remember that's really eventful happening with them. They're putting in new floors in their house.
New floors?
And yeah. And so they're gonna have to move a bunch of china out of the dining room and into boxes.
I see.
I offered my assistance, but I'm hoping that my dad feels too much of a man to accept it.
I see.
Because I don't feel like assisting with that mess necessarily. But I was thinking the other day that, perhaps it might be something to fly you out here for a few days now that I have a place where you could possibly stay.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun.
Because we could, we can't go out to many museums. We have one museum in the state with art in it. But we can always go to the public parks and to all the monuments and all that.
Oh, good. Oh, that sounds like it would be fun. I'll be here for another month and a half or so, and then going to Minnesota for probably 2 months. So
so the summer might be taken up a little bit.
The summer, maybe August. Or is it too hot in August?
I don't think so.
We'll be there. Will you be there in August, or will you be back home?
I will be there in August. My job is kind of year-round, but during the summer, since there aren't any students, obviously it gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, if we were to take a weekend and just have you down here,
okay,
it wouldn't be that bad. We'll have to, I bet you if we work out a date way in advance like we did last time, we can get a decent deal on the flight.
Okay. Good. Well, it sounds like fun. I'll look forward to it. Another option could be if there's a place. No, never mind. it sounds like a good plan.
Well, what were you about to suggest?
Well, I was
Because it
thinking
might
if there was a place that a place that maybe has more museum-y things, I could maybe fly into that location that's not too far from where you live. You know,
Oh, well, I mean,
you
what
would,
you would end up doing in that case is you would go to Yeager Airport, which is near Charleston, and
okay.
Charleston's something like 30 or 40 minutes away from Huntington, where the Huntington Museum of Art is.
Okay.
So I would be able to meet you out there and we could just drive on over.
Well, the thing is, I was just thinking if there was I don't know what airport is closest to you right now, but if there was a place that had interesting things to see that was near a different airport, I could go there, fly into that. We go around and look at fun stuff for the day, and then head back to where you are now, and then
Like I said, Charleston would be the best bet. They have the galleries, they have the shopping and all.
okay.
The only other place I could think of would be Morgantown. I don't know if they have an airport there though.
Okay. Well, it's something we can think about.
We'll have to work it out. I'll take a look.
Good. Good. I went to Target today to buy groceries, and they had, not that I needed this book, but they had a book called 300 Drawing Prompts. And I bought the companion book, 300 Writing Prompts, the other day because it looked like it had really nice paper, which it does have. And but the drawing prompts are really kind of lame. But I'll drag them into the gutter fast enough. Don't you?
Yeah.
Just wait.
I shall be waiting.
Yes. The writing ones were fun, but then I tried to find other ones, and I think I lucked out finding the ones that initially seemed fun to me. Anyway,
well, I am going to use up the last of this ink, and then I'm probably going to start cooking things.
okay, well, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to not cook, but I'm going to turn off this thing and go sit on the couch. And I tend to turn on audio plays and audiobooks and listen to them in the background as I draw. So I'm going to do that. And we will see you later. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.